Hey everyone, how's everyone doing tonight? Well, I wanted to do a review on a documentary I watched on this streaming site called Peacock. And mind you, I love watching documentaries. It's something I love doing on my pastime, binge watching a bunch of documentaries and shit. So I happened to stumble on this interesting documentary on Peacock called Black Boys. And so I watched the documentary entirely. And it was a pretty good documentary for the most part. They touch bases on basically what Black boys / Black males deal with in United States of America. And one thing that stood out, and I also noticed this as well, they like when anytime a Black person wants to get out the hood or what have you, they tend to want to play sports or be a rapper. And it's nothing wrong with that, but my problem is the fact that that's all there is, and it shouldn't be that way. Like, what's wrong with a person of color, a Black man wanting to be a doctor or scientist? Like, why can't Black boys aim higher? Like, why is it, why? And it's fucked up because they dominate certain sports, right? But they don't own the teams. They don't own none of the shit that they dominate. Hey, Quasi, how are you? And they touched on, in the documentary, they touched on the fact that, which is true, in this country, especially in a dominant society, they have benefit off the bodies of Black people, especially Black men. And the fact, and all this shit goes back to slavery. They always been entertained by seeing Blacks entertain their asses. And it's kind of fucked up because it's like they're saying, oh, all Black people are good for is playing basketball and all that shit. Like they don't think that Black people are beyond that. Like why can't a Black person want to be an engineer or a scientist, a lawyer, a doctor, a dentist, and what have you? Why does it always have to be sports and fucking being a rapper? Because Black people, we're better than that. We're more than dribbling a fucking basketball. And it's like, and you see, and then it's another thing they touched on in this documentary. They brought up the school to prison pipeline or whatever. And they don't, in this country, the education system is fucked up. Especially if you grew up in the hood, you grew up in the wrong district, and you're not being taken care of as far as learning goes, you're being neglected. And see, that's why people who's been born or had to live in the fucking hood, that's all they know, because they don't have resources where they come from. The government don't give a fuck about them. And then you see how they end up getting in trouble, getting locked up, because they didn't have opportunities. And it's sad that the only time a person can get out the hood is fucking learn a sport or be a rapper. Why can't someone come out from the hood happen to be I don't know, a scientist, a fucking engineer? Why does it, why it's almost like saying, oh, black people aren't smart. We don't have the capabilities to want to aim higher. And me, as a black person, I want to see my people do well. I don't want my people being limited on what the fuck they do, because I know we are capable of doing shit. Like, we're better than that. And it's like, I just get tired of seeing. It's fucked up, because it's like, why do we always have to be seen as one thing? Why can't we aim higher? If you think about it, it's a fucking insult. Because I know what my people are capable of doing. Like, we invented shit. We gave people genres of music. We have contributed to culture. We have contributed a lot in society. And I want black boys and black men to aim higher, because I know they have potential. Some of them, they just wasn't giving a chance. That's another thing. They need to see more black people in position of power. They need to see more black teachers. They need to see people that look like them. Because if all you're seeing is, if all your role models is just like athletes and rappers, then Houston, we have a problem. Because we're more than that. And I remember growing up having black teachers. My second grader, she was black. And I had 2 black math teachers in high school. And it's just, all I'm saying is this. We as a people, we as black people, we can do better. You know what I mean? We can do better. And we're so much more than how society want to portray us and want to downplay us and shit like that. We're so much better than that, man. And hey, Black Dust, how are you? So yeah, if y'all hadn't checked out Black Boys that's on Peacock, you should, because it's a really good, informative documentary. It's really good. And some of the stuff that was in the documentary, I kind of already knew. So yeah, certain shit just bothers me. I get sad when that our only role models is fucking, especially for Black boys, their only role models is athletes and rappers. Right, Black Dust. Like there's so much, we have so much potential, man. And we can do big things. We can, man, we can have our, we can fucking, if we wanted to, we can find a cure to shit, to fucking sickness and diseases. Like it's so much. Like even like why we can't have a, like why blacks can't be a mathematician? Like why? That's what I'm saying. Like we can aim higher. You know what I mean? Hey girls, what's up? I want my people to do better because I know our potential. I know we're better than what we been presented. I know we're better than that. And it's just sad. Yeah, I feel you. Yeah. There's a black boy inducted into the Misa. Okay. Yeah, it's just, hey BSC. Yeah, like I mean, I think a black person had something to do with that particular documentary I watched. I mean, the documentary wasn't bad. I mean, I like it was nothing like I didn't know already. Well, it wasn't a bad documentary though. Oh, you said someone has an higher IQ than Bill Gates. Okay, that's what's up. And I'm gonna tell you one thing. I'm gonna tell you another thing that pissed me off. I hate like because that shit really comes from slavery. I hate when motherfuckers think like just because you want to be educated, you're trying to be white. No, you're not trying to be white. You're trying to educate yourself. Like, why does every positive thing you do gotta be back to whiteness? Like, why can't a black person just want to be educated? Why does everything have to be because they want to be white? Because that shit goes back to slavery, how they wanted to dumb us down and prevent us from wanting to read and write. They wanted us to be dumb as possible, so they can keep us mentally enslaved. They didn't want our people knowing beyond of the state they were in, so they would dumb them down by preventing them from learning how to read and write. Yeah, Black Dust. I posted it on my channel. I showed the trailer to it, and it's free. The streaming site, you just have to sign up and you'll be able to watch it. Just search Black Boys and it should pop up. It was a good documentary though. It wasn't bad. And then in the documentary, they touched on some of these boys don't have a father in their lives. And I feel like even if you didn't have your father in your life, you can at least have a father figure. Whether it's your teacher, your coach. I mean, anybody can be seen as a father figure. Yeah, they address that BSC how blacks are not afforded the same opportunities as whites. You see it in the difference with the schools. How in predominantly white schools they have all these equipments and shit. Like they're way more advanced. And predominantly black schools in the hood, they're not afforded the same shit. And yeah, they touch bases on a whole lot of shit of why blacks aren't able to reach their full potential. And it's not our fault. It's just the way the powers that be try to dumb blacks down because they don't want to see us excel. But we gotta tell ourselves, not to succumb to their bullshit. Because that's all it is. They just want us to be. They just want to dumb us down, not give us no opportunity. And I feel like if we had better housing, more jobs, better funding in education, I feel like it would be less crime. When you don't have opportunities, people turn around and do shit like sell drugs and shit. So yeah, it's just all types of fucked up, man. They do that to just keep us in the bottom. They don't want us to fucking excel. And see, shit like that, I can't even watch like certain documentaries like really get to me. Even shit I witnessed in real life, man, it just makes me upset. But I know it's by design and it's fucked up on so many levels. So yeah, it's a pretty good documentary. So Y'all can watch it and you can tell me what y'all think about it. Exactly, Black Dust. That's all it is. It's by design. They set it up that way. Everything they do towards us is intentional. And it's been going on since our people were forced into this country to work for free. When slavery was over, you had fucking Jim Crow laws. Sharecropping. It's like, no matter what, it's like they never truly got off our backs. When they get rid of one system, they put in a new system in place. Like the prison system is pretty much modern day slavery. The drug laws is a fucking joke. It's just a way to lock minorities up. They take away opportunities for people, and then they wonder why they turn to a life of crime. And motherfuckers don't have jobs, underfunded schools. What do you think's going to happen? That's why I am for marijuana being legal. It should never been illegal in the first place. And that's a whole subject matter. In fact, I don't know if y'all been keeping up, but the federal government is trying to pass a law where weed is legal nationwide. And I hope that happens, because that means if the federal law decriminalizes weed, then we can all enjoy weed without being prosecuted federally. Because I'm gonna tell y'all, even though you're in a state where weed is legal, you can still get in trouble federally wise. And yeah, I'm gonna say another thing that's gonna be controversial, but fuck it. I think, honestly, I think all drugs should be decriminalized. I think we should treat addicts like patients, not criminals. Addiction is a disease. It shouldn't be treated like a crime. Even you see the difference how whites who were, the predominantly whites who got caught up with opiates, how they treat them versus how they treated minorities who were hooked on crack. They treated the crackheads like criminals. They didn't treat them like they were sick. They just treat them like they were criminals and just throw them in jail. And now with predominantly whites who are hooked on opiates, they're treating them like pretty much like patients. Like they're treating them with a little dignity that they didn't show for crackheads back in the 80s. So yeah, I'm for all drugs being decriminalized. And we should just treat it like a public health issue versus treating it like a criminal issue. If we decriminalize drugs, there will be less crime. Honestly. That's just my take on that. And I know that will not ever happen because these people make so much money locking people up for drugs. Because believe it or not, a lot of these drug laws we have in this country, at least in America, it has nothing to do with health at all. It's all race-based. Marijuana see, a lot of these drugs wasn't illegal at one point. At one point, cocaine, heroin, marijuana, all that stuff was legal at one point. It was all race-based. They criminalize weed because why? Because Mexicans was smoking weed. They made opiates illegal because why? The Chinese were hooked on opium. So they made that illegal. Cocaine? Oh, because the hysteria, blacks were on cocaine. See, a lot of these laws are race-based. Has nothing to do with health. And another thing why I'm for decriminalization of all drugs, I feel like, you see all these people ODing. I feel like we should educate society on what drugs can do to you. I don't think it's something that we should run away from. I think we should educate people on what they're putting in their bodies. And I think it will eliminate crime if we did that. Like look at the Prohibition era when alcohol was illegal. What did that do? Did it stop people from drinking? No. It went underground. And crime took place. So anytime you make something illegal, all you're doing is turning shit into a fucking underground situation. But look what happened once we stopped the prohibition shit. It was less crime, right? And that's how I feel about all drugs. We should decriminalize cocaine. heroin, marijuana. We should decriminalize all drugs. Fuck it. It's just like what I saw in the news. That's why it wasn't. I think it was a documentary I saw. I seen in other countries how they deal with people who are like hooked on heroin. They had a special room where these people like shoot up. I mean, I and no offense, they're actually safe in that environment because it's like you have clean needles, you have somebody looking out for you just in case you might OD. I don't know if they will ever implement that in this country, but I've seen it in places like Canada. But yeah, I'm definitely for decriminalizing all drugs. And that's another thing, like when you make shit illegal, a lot of them drugs are fucking cut with other shit. If we decriminalize it, we wouldn't have to worry about people ODing on shit like fentanyl. Like a lot of the shit that's in the streets is cut. Like you got people who's on heroin ODing off of fentanyl. A lot of that a lot of that shit would be eliminated if we made all drugs legal. And we should learn our lesson from the prohibition era. It didn't stop people from drinking. Hell, I don't even understand why psychedelic drugs are legal. Cause shit like mushrooms, that's not addictive. And at one point, people took that for a variety of medical reasons. People were taking it for depression. They were taking it for PTSD. I don't know anyone that OD off of psychedelic drugs like mushrooms. It's not even addictive. I see where you're coming from, Black Dust. But at the same time, people are gonna do what they want with their bodies. Like I feel like people, if you're gonna do shit, if you're gonna like take drugs and shit, you should be educated on what the fuck you're putting in your body. Honestly. And I just feel like if all drugs were decriminalized, we would have less crime. We'll have, if we decriminalize drugs, there won't be the whole drug, what you call it, the whole, like the people in Mexico, the drug cartels will not be a thing. Yeah, like I'm not even like for drugs. It's like one of them things like if you're going to do drugs, you need to do it responsibly. You need to be educated on what the fuck you're putting in your body. Because I feel like people are gonna do what they want. If they want to take a drug, they're going to do it. So if you're gonna do that, you should be educated on what you're putting in your body, at least. And I don't agree with treating addicts like they're criminals. I don't agree with that. The addiction is a disease. It shouldn't be treated like a crime. It shouldn't. It's a disease. They should be getting treatment, not thrown in jail. I think as a society, we should change how we treat addicts. Like, them people need help. They don't need to be treated like criminals. They need treatment. They need help. And people have their reason of why they turn to drugs. It's a lot of factors involved. Some people turn to it because they're dealing with trauma, they're dealing with stress, or what have you. There's a lot of reasons why people turn that shit. And I just feel like we should treat addicts like patients, not criminals. So yeah, it's so much I can get into because I do think about shit. Like, I feel like we as a society could do better on. I mean, listen, I don't agree with a whole lot of stuff, but people are going to do what they want. I mean, I can't if the person wanted to use drugs, they're going to do it. I just feel like if you're going to take drugs, what have you, you should be educated on what the fuck you're putting in your body. You should take it responsibly. Because I don't know. So the thing is, I don't know if people are going to stop taking drugs entirely. Like, people are going to do what they want with their body. Well, I feel like what we should do as a society is help these people, not treat them like criminals. That's all. So yeah, that's the type of shit I like think about. I'm really passionate about certain subject matters. I really am. Like, I care about shit. So yeah, y'all check out that documentary. I recommend y'all because it's really good. I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.